Yeah. We need that song playing before every podcast. So we play it downstairs the last couple of days.
Gets you proper hyped up.
Right, welcome to the Speed of Sound podcast, episode 2, and I'm joined by two more very special guests. I've got James MacLaurin.
Hello. Got my name right.
Got it right?
Yeah.
I thought I got it wrong.
No.
Sauber, Alfa, Romeo, Sauber, F1 Esports team.
Christ.
Bit of a mouthful.
Yeah.
Team manager. I'm also joined by James Baldwin, who...
Nice easy name, mate.
We kind of needed someone off the street, so we got James involved. Veloce James. So welcome to the Speed of Sound podcast.
Thank you. Yeah, great to be here.
Of course, the F1 Esports was last weekend. So team manager, spectator. How do you think it went?
Well, I mean, from a spectator point of view, I think everyone can agree it was insane, the whole production of it, and yeah, it was really enjoyable to be there. And I was saying to Jamie, my jealousy scale was like through the roof. You know, I wanted to be down there driving, but yeah, so very special event, and I couldn't imagine being a part of that as a driver. You know, it'd be an amazing experience.
That's your plan, though, isn't it, for like next year to try and push and compete? Because I know you're doing AOR and those sort of leagues. I think you're in F2 AOR.
Yeah,
aren't you? Yeah. So
yeah, my first season in F1, so it's not bad to be fair.
How's the season going?
Good. I missed the first 2 rounds, but I won the following 3, and then let's not go and talk about the last one because yeah, it's not worth talking about.
And you, from a team manager point of view,
Yeah, I mean, I think from kind of being behind the scenes from day one, the whole competition's kind of grown and evolved so much from when we first started, and I think it's huge credit's got to go to Gfinity for organising the whole thing. The guys at F1 who are running it have got a really clear vision of where we're going. I think there's still a lot that needs to change, and I think some rules probably need to be looked at for future events. Kind of, it's a strange one. I always think, kind of, from a spectator point of view, our job is to try and engage new esports fans, because I don't think at the moment there's enough of a fan base, a core fan base in kind of racing as an esport. So I think we've got to do a lot of work to try and engage guys that watch Call of Duty or Counter-Strike and say, well, you know, okay, they exist, but are you looking at what we're doing? And I think it's a battle between whether you go down the route of 25% races or 50% races. I don't know what you think from watching in the final, whether you enjoyed the Abu Dhabi 50% race more or you enjoyed the 25% race more. But
I would say 50%, you know, straight away signals too long, boring, too much strategy involved. But the race was really good.
Yeah, it was.
So whether that's a one-off or not, I don't know.
I'm still a little bit unsure what's the right direction.
I think if there wasn't that big old crash at the beginning, that race would have been epic.
Yeah.
Because it really separated. You had one section of the field up until like P8, I think it was. It was just like up at the front, not really that close together. And then you had the rest of them sort of battling around them. Focus was more on the front guys. And then, of course, if we didn't have a 50% race, we wouldn't have had that amazing battle where you had Daniel Beresnay, one of our drivers. Then you had Brendan Lee and Frederick Rasmussen, like all battling at the end.
The interesting thing is that Abu Dhabi in real life is so boring.
Yeah.
But every F1 esports race they've had has been amazing.
Exactly.
Sure. So it's an interesting dynamic. But
I think where Formula One for me, and we'll give, I think all the teams actually are sitting down with Formula One in a few weeks to go through what was good, what was not so good, what we can improve. And I think where F1 need to change direction slightly is they've got obviously a fan base that watch the real sport. They're targeting their current kind of real life fan base, and you always see on social media kind of when an esports video pops up, it just gets peppered with bad. Yeah,
it's always just like make a new Twitter for esports.
Exactly.
No one wants to see it.
I kind of get that, you know, are 40-50-year-old blokes that watch the real sport going to be the target market for what we're doing anyway? They're not.
Yeah.
No.
And that's the challenge. But from a Sauber's perspective, I'm so proud of our team. We did so well to come back from event 1 where we had a few problems with the equipment, and Sally couldn't really perform as best he could. Alec's brakes they failed in the China, so we had a few problems, but from there we bounced back so well, and loads of changes were made by Gfinity to make sure that those problems never happened again. And you know, I think Sally's got the ability out of the 3, I would say, to challenge Brendan Lee.
Yeah.
He's obviously, you know how kind of feared he is online. It's like he's won so many championships, but I think with a little bit more preparation, because Brendan was at Brackley with Mercedes every day practicing, and Sally was at university and balancing that whole kind of
And speaking to Sally, it was, I think, a massive stepping stone for him doing it this year, because I know he didn't fear the drivers, but he thought in his mind he maybe couldn't beat them.
Yeah.
And winning in Hockenheim, I think that just opened the floodgates
for
him.
100% agree with you. And I really think that Brendan did a mega job this year. I think no one can deny. He obviously got a little bit of bad press for his driving in the last race, but in the real world, lots of drivers will drive slowly in a corner to get a better exit. I mean that's very standard practice.
At when Rosberg won the championship in 2016, Hamilton was trying to really just slow up Rosberg.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone applauded that. That's the difference.
Yeah. He's a step ahead of every driver at the moment by far.
I think it was 15 hours a day.
Yeah.
He will train.
Yeah.
And that's just mad.
Yeah, it's mad. And they put a lot of time into setups, and I think all the drivers outside of Mercedes felt like they really had an advantage in that space, which you don't get from luck. They put a lot of time and effort into it. So I think everyone should hold their hands up and say fair play to Mercedes and Brendan for a great season. But from our side, it's the benchmark's been set now, and they've got a target on their back, and we've got to be aiming for them and better for next year.
Yeah, it won't be as easy. I don't actually think they'll win next season, because I think everyone will raise their game and bring it to them. But I think they've done it so well this year, but it won't be like that again in 2019.
Danny did a great job as well.
Yeah.
He was kind of obviously from the pro draft. We knew obviously at Veloce, we know about him. We knew he was a great talent, but he really turned up, I thought. And I think to have Brendan Lee as a teammate, it's not easy.
No.
Putting so much pressure on you each race, but he did an amazing job.
The outside audience think, because they're both in a Mercedes, no wonder Daniel's coming second.
Yeah.
But the cars are equal.
Yeah, exactly.
So he generally is the second best out there.
Yeah. I think the biggest challenge in the space we're in as an esport is educating people how hard it is to drive at the level they're driving at.
Yeah.
And the consistency they drive at. Because I work with them day in, day out, and I watch them practice, and I'm like, I go and try and do it, and that's when I'm like, geez, I'm miles away.
2 seconds off.
Yeah, more. And you even get, James, you'd say, you're an amazing driver, but on the Formula 1 game with Sally or whoever, you'd be well off the pace with them. There is a gap at the moment between these top boys and the other guys.
I wouldn't say well off the pace, but I know what you mean. Their level is it's savage how quick they are.
Yeah, it is. But it's not that you can't get there. It's just that they've dedicated a lot of time and they understand the mechanics of the game better.
Yeah, some of the guys have been playing it for 6-7 years. The F1 games. I know it's not the same game, but the physics are very similar. Yeah. So they've kind of developed with F1
too much with the handling and what you have to do.
Yeah.
They add little things every year, but it's not drastic changes. Like this year, it was just ERS, which a lot of them had to learn how to use.
You say just ERS, it's a massive thing to learn, isn't it?
Yeah, I know.
And Brendan is obviously the benchmark with that, because looking at his screen, it's always changing.
It affects tyre wear, it affects so many things that people if you're just a guy that's never watched a race before, don't know about F1, you come and watch that, that's my one fear, is that there's so much going on that people can't appreciate how much they're doing.
Yeah.
They're changing brake bias, they're changing ERS, they're getting DRS, making sure it's just there's so much preparation that goes into it, and it's just that education process of making sure people understand that happens.
Yeah. I think I saw in Belgium, Brendan was in the mid pack, and he was behind Tourmiller, and he actually asked his crew chief what tyres Tourmiller was on. You get the option to do that. I've never seen anyone in any game do that, if you know what I mean. So he's really
he switched on.
He likes the information, doesn't he?
Yeah, for sure.
He's got a lot of stuff
good at multitasking.
Going about him. You look at it and it's just brake bias, fuel, ERS, all at the same time. Between every single corner, he's changed that brake bias.
It's amazing.
And I agree with your point where you say they're not really appreciated about how much they do and stuff. But I think for new people coming in and watching it, the racing is just it's better than real life.
It is.
F1
at the moment. Miles better.
You just have every single. I think over half of the races you've had a battle into the final corner.
Every race, Baku, what a race! To have Rasmussen passing Brendan Lee on the line. I know that's happened in an F1 race before, but this season has just been every race has been action packed, loads of overtakes, drama. I can't see how you can watch that and not have a good time.
Exactly.
And I'm really
the crowd were applauding. constantly and non-stop. And
I can't see how for future events and future years this cannot just keep snowballing and growing, because I think this year, for it to be done the first time in the way it was, and to get the feedback from all the F1 teams that are new to esports and to have embraced it as they have on social media with their actual infrastructure as well, it's been amazing. Been really, really cool.
Yeah, I think coming back to the point of like people hammering on that Twitter page, I think it's just naivety.
Yeah,
people they've not seen, and when they see, you know, maybe not the first race, but watch a couple. I mean, my stepdad, for example, hates games.
Yeah.
Like, we went on a motion simulator like 2-3 years ago, and he just said he felt sick, he never wanted to touch it again. And then since doing this job and going to these events, he started to check it out and be like, okay, I actually really enjoy the racing and stuff like that. And it's just educating, getting new people into it.
The older generation as well, there is that kind of that feel that esports and games, they haven't been brought up with it.
No.
And it's that, you know, oh, it's not real. Why would I watch it if it's not real? And it's that, like I said to you before, that's not who we're targeting though. They aren't the people that we're unlikely to convert people of that.
Some
generation.
people of that age do embrace it.
They do.
Yeah, but you're right, the majority don't.
It's the younger generation that play games, watch, you know. And again, one improvement I think that would make a big difference is that the event was streamed on Twitch or YouTube, where these, you know, where people are actively watching esports, whereas Facebook is less and less really for the younger generation. They use it less and less, and actually the older generation are using it more and more. So I'd say that'd be a major thing they need to look at.
I asked it in the last podcast to Arab and Ben, an ideal dream of what you would want this to be. Where would you like the events to take place? What would you like them to? We've been through streaming, so obviously I already know your answer for that. But like, what is your ideal goal for this?
I think it's got the as an esport, it's got the ability to be like a tier 1 esport that will compete with Counter-Strike, and we're a long way away from that. Don't get me wrong, we're miles away. But you know, I think it'd be a good educational process to take some of these events to real life races, because I think that was mentioned last time. I think that's a good idea. But again, you're still targeting. It's maybe if they see it in the flesh, like these older fans see it in the flesh, they see the
come and watch the show.
Yeah, and they see like how good they are. They appreciate, maybe they'll go home and they'll watch it. I don't know.
And they have a go when obviously the races, or there's some rigs like we done in Zurich with Sauber. We had a lot of people coming in and they were just like, this is actually a lot harder. And we had all the assists on medium. We didn't throw them in at the deep end like these drivers have. And then they were just like, this is really difficult.
Those two kind of real life things we've done with Zurich and Milan, when we launched the team, like the reception we got from the public there was like, we had queues all day. We had queues of people that had never driven a car before online, but they were like, I've got an opportunity to be an F1 driver for 5 minutes, and they loved it. I think it's just, if we can try and convert them to watching it or even playing it, well, we're on the right path.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's move on to the next topic, which is sort of real to virtual, which is sort of a bit of what Veloce is about. You also being co-founder of the Veloce team, and you coming from really that real to virtual background. I mean, what sort of process did you have planned from the beginning?
It's funny actually. When we first started this, which is just over a year ago now, the real to virtual was actually a huge part of our plan. Because I'm not sure, for people that don't know, I approached Jack and Rupert, who are my two good friends of mine, former professional racing drivers in Formula 2, Formula 3, and they ran a management company in the real world, and they still do with drivers like Jamie Chadwick. And I said to them, right, let's get into esports. There's a niche here that we can really kind of capitalise on and become the number 1 kind of racing team. And we've done that. We've achieved that goal, I think. But one of the major kind of like phases was the whole, can we get gamers to become real life drivers, and how can we do that? And it's been done before, firstly, but actually how esports is evolving, and quite quickly we learned this, is that lots of drivers would be more successful by being top esports drivers than they would do going into the real world. And it's a strange thing to think about, but the motorsport world is broken in the real world, because Formula 1's a good example of it. The best example. It's a sport that not the 20 best talented drivers aren't always on the grid. It's, you know, there's examples where people have money and they're maybe not as good as other drivers who deserve a seat. And for that reason, you throw a gamer into that environment, and they might get a paid seat for a year, but then after that year, what happens to them? They'll fall out again, like a lot of people do in motorsport. Yeah. So I actually see it the other way around, the complete flip, which is James is a great example of, where people have had experiences in karting or junior formulas, not had the funding to go on and do real life racing, and actually see esports as a way to continue to be competitive, because you've got that competitive edge.
And make a living out of driving.
And make a living from the sport that they love. And exactly. That's where I think it's going to be, that's certainly what we've tried to position ourselves as, is, you know, a team where people that love racing, whether they've done it before or not, can come in, if they've got the talent, we'll help them improve and we'll try and make it a career for them. So, and the way, I mean, we're still in the baby stages of where this is at as an esport, but, you know, I'd like to think in 2, 3, 4 years' time, there'll be drivers that wouldn't even think about going in the real world because they know how valuable the esports world is.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming from real life. I mean, obviously my video of my career is on the Veloce channel as well.
Cheeky plug.
Yeah, so don't, I won't
Shameless.
I won't go into it now. But yeah, coming over to virtual racing, I thought would be quite easy, but it's been the complete opposite. There have been certain habits I've had to iron out. So I remember I'd done a really early recording about a year ago of a hot lap with my webcam, and I noticed myself leaning into corners, and I thought, what am I doing? So I ironed that out before I went live with anything. I mean, in terms of other things, getting your mind to focus for an hour on one thing is a really hard thing, because in real life you're immersed, you're looking around, you're feeling things. It's real light, it's not artificial like on a screen. So yeah, that took a bit of getting used to as well. But yeah, I think Jamie's right. I think it could end up being bigger than real life motorsport if it's going the way it is and it continues to get bigger and bigger and bigger while motorsport gets less popular. Yeah. Then I think sooner rather than later they'll be on equal terms, and I think it will be as valuable to be an esports driver as it will be a real racing driver.
I think it's a trend that we've been seeing for a number of years now, where, you know, audiences are dropping across the board in motorsport. Less and less drivers are driving because they can't afford to drive, and the seats are getting more and more expensive.
Teams as well, less teams than they used to be.
Exactly.
I would say to try and get the respect of certain people out there, because obviously we know esports is quite divided in terms of public opinion. Maybe having a pure example of an esports driver going into real life and absolutely dominating or bossing it.
I mean, there's examples of a couple that have gone from gaming to real life and they've got
and done well.
Done well.
Like Rudy Van Buren at Race of Champions.
Exactly. Yeah, he smashed it. You know, beat Lando, I think he did.
Yeah, but obviously that's only one race, and
you can't. It's tricky, but I think you're right. It's to convert people that are very kind of motorsport is motorsport, and it's that, and esports is nothing. It's going to be hard.
Show them how good we all are.
Yeah, that's the thing. And there's so much talent out there. That's the frightening thing. You know, Danny Bresnay, for example, at Mercedes, when he first came to our offices in, I can't remember when that was, about 7-8 months ago, from Hungary. Very humble beginnings. Yeah. Would never have had the opportunity to get into a racing car before. And we put him in our sim downstairs, and he was crying. Like, he's in floods of tears because it's like an overwhelming. He's gone from literally nothing to now driving for the best Formula 1 team in the world, coming second in the championship. It's like a real kind of bedroom to podium kind of story, and that's awesome to see. And there's, like I said, the talent out there is just, it's mind blowing, and it's just kind of how do we tap in and reach as many people as we can, because, you know, there's other Lewis Hamiltons of the esports world out there. We just need to go and find them.
Definitely.
And it's, I mean, we speak to manufacturers in the real world all the time, and they are showing more and more interest in esports because they know that with or without them, esports is going it's going in one direction.
I mean, you look at last year, the prize pool was 2,000. This year, it's 200,000. Yeah, what will it be next year? So it's definitely on the up.
And I think it might even be a case of the prize pool won't be the biggest thing. Like in real life motorsport, the prize pool, you don't really hear about it. In Formula 1, you don't think, they're going to win 30 million. It's just they've won that championship out of honour. Yeah. And that's the biggest prize you can have.
It is. And it's the digital footprint that these guys are going to get from fans, followers, and that's when you see brands I mean, the exciting part for me is like New Balance, for example, who sponsored the F1 Esports series. They wouldn't look at Formula One in the real world as a realistic target to sponsor any car, or because it would be probably too much, and also the demographic they're targeting probably doesn't watch Formula One anymore.
Yeah.
But with esports, brands have now got an opportunity to align themselves with F1 teams, racing drivers, and target people that will buy their shoes or buy their clothes or whatever. So I think that's really an exciting part that I think we still need to kind of evolve.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
I think we should move on though, because we've talked about the esports final too much, and plans for Veloce. I think we've spoken over that for the future. Yeah. So next one we've got the Macau crash, and I think I speak for everyone, and we hope that Sophia Flores gets well soon.
Yeah, for sure.
It was massive.
I watched that. Yeah, I think I was in bed at the weekend. I think it was.
So was I. Not in your bed, but
I was because that was after the esports final.
Yeah, I woke up with my eyes.
I was very
my mouth, my tongue was headache.
I actually thought I was still drunk when I saw the crash. Like, that was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Oh god!
Because you've got to think those cars are not built to the same quality of an F1 car, and that was
the miracle. Really.
Yeah, to come out with just a cracked vertebrae. Okay, surgery has had to happen afterwards, but
frightening.
The way it wasn't like the bottom of the car hit the barriers as well. It was the top where her head is.
I know. It was because I think I saw there was like they changed that corner because there was a lot of corner cutting in GT cars. I think it was the year before.
Yeah.
So they put like a sausage curb there to like obviously try and prevent people cutting that corner. And yeah, because when she was going backwards, it like lifted that car up, didn't it?
And then she hit the car going round the corner as well. So that
that car was lucky as well.
Yeah. I'll tell you who was lucky. The Marshals.
I know.
I'd be surprised if they go at turn 1 at Macau again. You know, it was scary.
And I don't know if you saw that footage from the stand. Like the speed, like it looked like a bullet was going past.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to hear though that she's going to jump back into a racing car eventually, and she weren't that injured. I feared the worst, to be honest, when I first saw it.
So, I think we all did.
Yeah.
But I think it's funny how life works, but people like Billy Munger, what a horrendous accident to have happened to such an amazing person, an amazing driver. But racing drivers are built differently to other people. Yeah. It seems weird to say, but he's come back stronger for it turned it.
His first thought was, how do I get back?
Yeah, into the car? I think it was, and that's just like to think of that. I don't know how. I certainly wouldn't have that.
You've got to think an average person has a car crash. They don't drive for a long time usually after because they're too scared.
It's amazing.
And
it's that kind of going wheel to wheel again. To not have that thought in the back of your head.
This time the car
isn't amazing. Truly inspirational.
And then to go and get a podium as well.
Yeah,
it's like
incredible. Unreal. No, I think fingers crossed that she's back in a racing car soon.
Yeah, very soon. Now moving on to.
I had another point as well.
You want to go for another point? You can throw in another point there.
Okay. I think a lot of people say Macau should be banned from the calendar. I think that's a really bad idea because Macau is a really traditional place. The track's immense. I hear from certain people that it's a really special place in more ways than one. So I don't think that's the best way to go about it. You can crash anywhere.
True.
It doesn't prohibit overtaking. It's not like Monaco in that sense. It's just a really cool track. So if they got rid of it, it'd only be a bad thing.
It's so tight that one mistake could cost me. Look, Callum Ilott, when I don't know if you saw that replay of him where he went around a corner, yellow flag came out. It was literally like.
Oh, I did see that actually. I did see that.
Did you see the 360 spin in the touring car?
I don't know whether he gained position or he just overtook the other guy. He just did a spin and then went, right, see you later, lads.
I think he tapped another one. Three of them went off and he was like, see ya.
Thug life after.
But I agree, Macau shouldn't be taken off. I think it's a circuit that even in like the virtual world we'd all like to sort of have a crack on.
And big props to Giorgio Tarquini, 56 years old and won the touring car race in Macau.
Yeah, amazing.
Fair play. Right, real life F1 final race of the season would probably just to happen when this goes up, so we won't really do any predictions unless you've got any weird predictions to shout out. I don't really think, because
I think
don't come up with anything. Come on, seriously.
Verstappen.
What? How? That's not out of the ordinary. He's top of practice.
I'm calling it Verstappen, Raikkonen and Hamilton on the podium.
I'm saying that's not going to happen. That's my prediction.
You wait, mate.
Williams and McLaren on the podium, No, we can talk about obviously review of the season. Also, we've got a lot of changes. I mean, a lot of changes happening.
I think that's the most
you said
exciting
earlier,
part, isn't it?
over half the grid is changing.
Yeah, crazy.
It's a new era, isn't it? Really.
I think it's been needed, to be honest, because I honestly think that's a part. We've got kind of legends of the sport in Alonso and Hamilton, Vettel, but these guys have been dominating the sport for like over 10 years, and we need someone to like come out from, you know, the Lando Norris or a George Russell or
Charles Leclerc,
hopefully next year. Exactly. And these guys are kind of a new generation. I just hope it breathes a bit of kind of new energy and vibrancy into the sport.
Yeah, you've got some exciting battles. Mercedes is saying the same, so not really much to talk about there, but it's sort of, you've got Charles Leclerc, how can he do up against Vettel? You've got
that's going to be fascinating.
Pierre Gasly versus Max Verstappen.
I know you've got
a
bit of a man crush on him, haven't you? Charles Leclerc. So I'll let's see how that develops over the course of the season.
I might be trying to get tickets.
You're just going to be watching the F1.
Me and Matt Gallagher are going to be like walking hand in hand down the pit lane, skipping towards him. That's going to be a fascinating battle. But I think Vettel cracked this year big time, and I think how well Charles did this year, I'd be surprised if he didn't put similar pressure on him again next year. So
I don't think he'll beat him. I don't, because I think Vettel's one of these guys that learns from mistakes. And yes, he's made lots of them this year. But next year it's a fresh year. I think it's going to be tough for Charles, but I hope he does beat him. But
I'd like him to.
Vettel just needs to throw this season in the bin. He hasn't led a race since Belgium.
Yeah,
in a Ferrari,
it's a stupid stat,
he hasn't led a race. Well, Kimi's won a race.
It's such a weird demise. Like he comes back.
It's
from
purely
summer.
mental. It has to be mental.
Yeah, because he wins the first race back from the summer, and then it just out of nowhere goes bad for him. Like usually after a summer break, that would be where it goes bad. But it's like I don't get it really.
I think that crash in Hockenheim really.
But you say that, then he won in Spa. So
yeah, it's true.
I mean, it's
that kind of it's the little kind of doubt in the back of his head. Like, even if he went and won, albeit, I mean, that race for him was pretty easy at Spa. He got past Hamilton and it was pretty much away and gone. But when there's a change of weather or he's got someone pressurising him, that's when I think Hamilton doesn't crack. And these top guys never crack. But yeah,
he has the start of the season where he just doesn't care, Hamilton, and then after that he's like, oh, you know what? Maybe
he also tends
maybe I need to catch up a little bit.
Once he's won as well, he just turns off, doesn't he? He's like, I'm done. Finished. Chill out, going on.
I mean, I was surprised that he won in Brazil.
That never happened.
Before he's never won.
Never happened.
I think it was because the Constructors' Championship was actually on the line this time. But
he's got something to fight for.
On the topic of Hamilton, obviously he's 33 now. You've got Kubica coming in at 33. I think that shows a lot of people that Kubica's not too old to do it again, if you know what I mean. Because a lot of people are saying, oh, he's too old to get back into it. Whether, yes, he's had a bad crash and he's had a long time out, but he's a really talented driver. So I think... I
was split, honestly, when I heard he was coming back.
Yeah. You got a different opinion?
No, I don't. I think you're right. And I think he was tipped to be next world champion
because we missed
before he
the best.
Oh no, yeah, definitely.
Before he had his crash, he was tipped to be the next a potential next world champion, and I think he definitely deserves another season in the sport for what kind of up until that happened. I think he probably would have gone on and definitely competed for a title.
That's the thing, yeah.
So I think he deserves. I mean, I don't think he's going to be near the front in a Williams.
No. A lot of people like yourself are thinking it's going to be a one-season wonder type thing.
Yeah, and also I think
hope it's more.
Why they've done that as well. George Russell's going to be there as a rookie.
That'll be interesting, yeah.
He'll be there to give him some guidance, and I think that's probably why they've done it. And it's maybe a sense, but we'll see.
I'm just worried for that arm, to be honest. And I've said this before.
I saw it the other day, Haydon. I was like,
I
didn't know how bad it was,
isn't it?
Yeah, like he can't use it. He uses all his right hand to drive with. Yeah, and I'm just worried that one big crash will shatter that arm, and then that's it.
Yeah, I hope not. I mean, touch wood. But I saw the photo of it. I'd never seen it, and I was mind blown.
It was, I think
there's no muscle.
It's just the veins, and
it's like someone has hacked his arm around the bone. That's how it looks. It's like no muscle.
Scary. But he's done some testing and practice and stuff, so I don't think he would do it if he didn't.
Yeah, and when he did testing last year, he did like 100 something laps. So that means you have got the endurance in the arms to be able to do it.
That arm has always had a weakness, even junior Formula for him. So that's why that broke easier than everything else in the rally crash. So he's always had a deficit in that sense, but yeah, it would be interesting. I didn't know
you were a Kubica fanboy. Going back to his
junior
Formula.
I love the guy. He's a beast.
Alonso leaving. New livery on the car. A lot of people have been debating that Van Dorn should have got a livery as well.
It's a sad day. It's a sad time because he's been such a legend of the sport. I think F1 will miss him, but like I said, I think it is time for a new era to come through, and the livery looks mega.
Yeah, no, I think
every car should have a livery like that.
Yeah,
with the Halo.
Driver,
there was talk. I don't know whether it was like Sean Ball Designs or Sevi Designs. Someone did it.
Oh really?
Where it was like they did somewhere. It was like the whole car was a helmet, which was really cool. And then people were saying like maybe the Halo, because you can't see the helmet anymore. The Halo should be like a helmet, but I like the back of the car just being like a little subtle hint.
I think this gives a bit of like personal feel. You know instantly who the driver is of the car.
Especially when you're watching on TV, it's easy because you know
when
you've got
there.
the graphics. But when you're there, it is quite hard to sort of tell.
Especially
when you're on a corner. Yeah, with a Halo, and you're on a corner and they come through so quickly, you can't really tell who's who. So yeah, for a special livery like that on the back of the car, I really like it.
I like it as well. It's a shame Van Dorn's not got his own money.
But you never know. He could be back. He's like a simulator driver for Mercedes next year. So
he's a brilliant driver. Like, this is the best GPT driver ever, statistically.
So he's the best driver with Charles Leclerc.
He's statistically the best GPT driver ever. He is.
I've got to take you back to Turkey 2006. Just watch Lewis, mate.
Honestly, Van Dorn is a very good driver. It's like people forget like Stroll dominated in junior Formula, and then he's come into Formula 1 and everyone thinks he's rubbish. He's not.
Yeah.
But it's just
I don't think he's rubbish.
No, it's just the level. The level in Formula 1 is.
I think Williams is rubbish.
Cars are poor. Anyway, I won't rant.
You sure you don't want to go on more about your bays of Charles Leclerc and Stoffel Van Dorn?
No, I love him though.
But yeah,
we know.
Helmets on the back, definitely a good idea.
Yeah, definitely.
That's all really for me. Anything that you two want to suggest, throw in there?
No.
Subject wise?
Yeah, subject, anything?
No, I think we've touched on quite a lot.
Cool, we'll go to some quick fire questions then, loosen you up at the end of the this podcast.
Supposed to do this at the beginning, loosen us up.
Yeah, but I forgot, and we can just throw these at the end in case people don't really care and they just want to skip past these. Right, tea or coffee? What have you got? What have you had in the mug?
Tea all day long.
Or tea?
Coffee gives me the jitters.
Hot chocolate.
And a bad stomach.
Hot chocolate,
well.
I agree with that.
Chocolate?
I hate tea.
What are you, 6 years old?
When I drink, yes I am. Spring water or sparkling water?
I'm sparkling.
Sparkling.
What is wrong with you
like
people?
The saltiness of
it. No!
Oh, it's beautiful.
I can't trust you two anymore. That's weird.
The only problem is when you go, I went to the gym, and I don't look like I go to the gym, I haven't for a long time, but I used to drink sparkling water, and I used to get like...
It gasses you up.
Yeah, badly.
You're like burping on the running machine.
Yeah, bad news.
Oh, right, okay. Right, this is an important one to me, and you have to say the right one, otherwise I won't like you. A dog the size of an elephant, so a massive dog, or an elephant the size of a dog? So a really
dog,
small...
because I don't want an elephant as a pet, really, do I?
What's wrong with you? That would be adorable. Just this little elephant.
The size of a dog. Yeah, I wouldn't want that.
Why wouldn't you
a big dog?
Why would you want that? I'd want a dog-sized elephant.
Dog-sized elephant? Really?
Yes. That'd be mega.
No, what? You want a dog that big?
No, I want a small little elephant.
He wants the elephant.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. I want a massive dog. I've already had a big dog. I've had a big dog. I've had a Doberman that's like not nearly an elephant, and that was way too big.
Did any of you watch Clip of the Big Red Dog as a kid? That was
yeah,
exactly. That was not That was not conventional. They had to move.
It's not. No,
they had to get a big kennel. You want a little elephant because that is adorable.
Yeah, and we'd go have a great laugh.
Just walk around going.
I'd go on a night out with him and get so many birds.
Thinking about
you would actually.
Okay, you've converted me.
If you had a small elephant, the amount of girls would come. Cats or dogs, though?
Dogs for sure.
Dogs.
Yeah, definitely dogs. And favourite Veloce member? If you don't send me after, I feel really bad.
No, definitely not James. Or you.
I got you 2 shots the other night.
I don't know who my favourite is.
I feel inclined to say Veloce Brembo because I came with him and we chat most nights.
You guys are like the duo, aren't you?
Yeah, we like
bromance.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to say Sally. Because he was mega in the last F1 Esports. That's the only reason I like him more than everyone else. So until you all do something special,
okay. We will end it on that then, because you're gonna have Sally non-stop going. Well, I'm your favourite.
Yeah. Only for today though, not forever. Just for today.
He won't let that go. Still, right. Thank you very much for watching the Speed of Sound podcast. If you have enjoyed, don't forget to smash like on the video. Subscribe also to the Veloce Esports channel. Also, go check out our merch. We've released some merchandise. James is very much modelling it at the moment. So you can go check it out. First line of the description, or first link in the description. So you can definitely go check that out as well. But thank you very much for watching, and we will see you again very soon. Thank you guys for coming on.
See you later.
Cheers, mate.